Hello, gorgeous people. It's so good to see you. I knew we were going to be swamped. Nobody's going to miss a call with Hillary Huber.
I don't know about that. They're sick of me.
That's when I first met you.
A lot of Hillary this week.
Well, somebody said to go to you for coaching because they said, I think the quote was, Hillary is the Oprah of the audiobook world. And it's pretty much played out. You're like, you've got that magic stardust thing going on, which is partly what I want to talk about on this call.
Okay.
I've got to give a shout out because she does it to me every single time I try to sneak into the audience. Gina's here.
I just saw that. Gina, are you moving? I want to know if you're dancing again.
I know. I picture Gina dance. I want Gina come back, even though I promise I'll show up from now on if you come back. Okay, guys, down to business, the very important stuff. I've had people sneaking into my DMs going, when are you going to get Hillary Huber back? Because you've got an energy about you and you're kind of like universally loved, which can't be an easy feat to pull off. God. Like I've never and we actually quoted you the other day from something you had posted, but I was very good and I didn't use your name. We were like, a high-profile audiobook narrator once posted.
What did I say?
But I don't know, because I don't know if you posted it in a private group. So that's the thing. I don't know if you want me to say it, but it was a thing about how a reviewer had caught something.
Oh God, it was hysterical.
That's okay to say publicly?
Sure. I mean, you want me to tell the story?
Yes, tell us the story.
Was it the swear?
Hysterical. I think we can all learn from it because we were talking.
I mean, you all know I swear. So in general, so here it comes. Yeah. So I got an email or a DM from somebody saying, "Hi, I'm listening to one of your audiobooks, and I don't think it was intentional, but at chapter 5, 7 minutes and 34 seconds, you say, what did I say? What the fuck? Fuck me. Are you fucking kidding me?" And then I told my children, you are allowed to have 1 tablespoon of jam this week. And so, clearly I'd made a mistake like 4 times on the same sentence. And so I emailed the publisher right away and I was like, oh, guys, there's an editor out there who's probably going to get in trouble because this made it through. I was kind of glib about it.
Yeah.
And they wrote me back the sort of tersest, yes, we're aware of that. And we've corrected the issue already. I'm like, all right, sorry. Oh, wow. I thought it was kind of funny, but yeah. So
we all thought it was hysterical. And also because it goes to the point of, we were talking about people that record. A lot of people do this when they're new. They record and then they go back and they want it to be perfect and they triple check and then they go and re-record bits. And it's the opposite of what like you and Johnny and all the coaches say, to lose yourself in the moment, be the character. If you're going there micromanaging your voice, and we're like, I'd rather have, we at the time were saying, this well-known narrator, because we didn't want to out you in case it wasn't public. I'd rather hear a funny one-liner that slipped through.
Oh, it's hysterical.
You know what I mean? From a narrator that's into the script and into the moment.
Or pissed at themselves. I mean, right?
But yeah,
you bring up an interesting point, Daniela, because I mean, I'm sure you have questions and we've kind of launched in a weird way, but I think that we are tasked with so many different jobs right now. We're not a narrator. We are a narrator. We're an engineer. We're a marketing expert. We're a director. We're a QCer. We're all of these things. And it's too many hats to wear. My hat rack isn't big enough for all those hats. My booth is not big enough for all those hats. Let's put it that way. So what I aim for when I get in that booth is I want to have made sure that my sound is perfect so I can take my engineering hat off. Yeah. Everything I know is set. And in fact, I always hire an engineer. I do it once a year. I have an engineer remote into my studio and listen to my sound. I record and they remote and they futz with the dials in case I've moved something. So I tell every one of my students, it's worth $100 or whatever it is to hire an engineer for an hour to do that. So I want to get that ready so I don't have to bring that hat in with me. I want to do all my prep work of the book, read it, know who my characters are, know where it's going, know what the timbre is of it, what the POV is. I want to know what I'm doing with it so I can take my director hat off and I can leave that outside. Yeah. That one is the most important for me because I do not want to be directing myself when I'm performing that book. I want to be performing that book. And so I don't know if it is just experience or if it is, I think really it's primarily prep.
And confidence.
I was going to say, and it's confidence, which comes from experience.
Yeah.
To know that, you can always go back, but to at least get through a chunk of it. And then, I often will go back and redo, not the first chapter, but maybe the beginning of the book. I will often do that. The first, maybe not the whole chapter, depending how long it is, but I'll often go back and redo the beginning if I think it's a really good book and I just have gotten in a groove.
And you wanted to, what's fun? I know, because by then you've gotten to know I always feel it's a relationship with the character, and some characters, I know them by the end of the book, because I feel 100%. Like I didn't know them as well in the beginning.
No, exactly. The only tricky thing about that, going back and redoing the characters, is this. So I did a book very early on in my career, and it had 3 characters, and they talked together all the time. It was an older woman, a younger woman, and a younger man. And 3/4 of the way through the book, sorry, there's a bug. I was like Sybil, with a split personality. I was having this conversation just fluidly and flawlessly back and forth between all 3 of them. And all I wanted to do was go back and start over again because I knew them so well. But I kind of rationalized it this way, that those characters grew for me and I got to know them, but they grow for the listener. And they get to know them
on
too.
The journey with them.
Yeah. So, I don't think that any listener of that book would be able to point out toward the end and say, well, that character sounds different. They didn't sound totally different. It's not like all of a sudden one had an accent that they didn't have in the beginning, but I had settled into who they were and their personality became clearer. However, if you took a snippet of the first section of dialogue and compared it to the end, you might notice a little difference in the way they sounded, which is one reason why when I'm taking, every single book I record, I keep a snippet of every character. And I don't know what you guys all use to record on, but I use Pro Tools, and I can just highlight a section of dialogue. I can Control Alt 3 and it saves it and I name it. Okay. And I'll take one at the beginning and then I'll take another snippet at the end, because I use the one at the beginning as I'm, if they don't show up.
That's a really good idea.
Pages, but I use one at the end for if there's a sequel.
That's a really good idea, because I do an improv. I get all the characters before I start recording and I have them have a conversation with each other in their voices, explaining what their issue is in the book as who they are. But you bring up a really good point, and I never actually considered it. That's before I start the book.
Yeah.
I don't have then a sample. And you know what, the other thing that you brought up, and I don't, before we get too far away from it, when you said that experience breeds confidence, I see so many newer people, not newer, but maybe a year in, and they're at the point that they should be in there working to get the experience, to make that step with the confidence. But they're so busy with the voice in their head about how they don't have confidence that they don't just do the damn work.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it if you don't do the work first. Then you prove to yourself that you can do it. Then you've got the confidence. I think people think confidence is something that it's like a gift bestowed upon you, like if you read enough self-help books. But
no, I mean, I have to find the confidence every time I step in the booth.
Yeah.
What's this book? What am I wearing? You got to find your footing.
Yeah.
That's not just something you just wear around like a mantle 24/7, right?
So I have to say something to you.
Okay.
Massive compliment, because you're the only one I've seen. I mean, everyone's doing it, but you're exceptional And I get a feeling from our last conversation that it wasn't the easiest transition for you. We first talked when it was, and I think we've talked on a lot of calls, a lot of different people have, about how people that started in studios, and you weren't the one that said this, but I've had other people say this, they had a different dynamic. They were used to calling publishers and they'd say, I've got to space my schedule now. And then they'd pretty easily get books. And then not often have to audition, but it was the way the business worked. And then in the last few years, especially, it's been flooded, an influx of new people and everything. And there was a big emphasis on social media. A big emphasis, Clubhouse, this, that, where are you making a place for yourself? How are you doing that and still doing your job? And I know you did that same exact thing when we talked last time, but I have to say, for somebody that it was clear you weren't like the biggest cheerleader for this new change in the tide, you embraced it. And you have really got and you also said, well, you have to stay relevant. And I thought, well, how can you be more relevant than Hillary Huber or Carol Monda, or you know what I mean? You guys have it made. Everyone assumes you guys have it made, but but that's the thing. It's you joined into this tide of new social media, digital, showing up on Clubhouse, everything new. You kind of jumped into seamlessly, and like you enjoyed it. I mean, you might have been grumbling behind the scenes and we don't hear it, but I've got to say, you really made it seem effortless. Did it feel like an organic thing, or did it feel like a lot of hard work, or did it feel like?
Well, I mean, I've really picked my shots. So in that regard, it's somewhat organic. Like, what we all started with Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So I Facebooked here and there. And then I kind of felt, honey, there's a slamming door somewhere. Can you find it? It might be here. There's a hurricane coming. There's like doors slamming.
Oh, how exciting. I love a hurricane.
I know, except there's a huge outdoor party tonight. I don't want there to be a hurricane. Oh, thank you. So that was fine. But then, all of a sudden I was like, yeah, accept. I've got what, 4,000 friends on Facebook. And then I didn't understand, is this about my life? Is this where I just didn't get it? That got fuzzy for me. And also I have to be honest, I still go on Facebook, but I find the rambling too much. So, there's not a limit, sort of. And so when Instagram came along, that felt much more suited to the way I roll, in that, first of all, I'm super visual. So I love a good picture. I love a quick joke. I love something witty like that. I'm never going to pour out my life story. I'm going to, just because who would want to hear that? Nobody. And so I have a personal one, and then I made a business one. And I still, every time I have to make a business post or I promote a book, I'm not like, yay, I get to make, I'm like, oh shit.
Do you enjoy Clubhouse?
Right now. Well,
Clubhouse.
So,
I don't want to hate it.
Oh no, I like Clubhouse a lot because I don't have to put lipstick on. So
you see, I can't see people.
Let's see.
Oh
yeah. Sorry, I don't know if I'm going to blame it on the hurricane. So that was, Vic and I, when Clubhouse first came along, Vic Haas and I were like, "Oh, let's make a Clubhouse room, and that'll be super fun." And it was fun. So I don't mind showing up on that. I love any opportunity where I get to talk to people. That I love. I love interaction. I can do that all day long, and obviously I do. I just can't believe anybody even shows up to hear me talk anymore, because I feel like I'm a little oversaturated.
You always say that, but it's funny.
I know, but my God,
so
I did a PANA thing last night. I'm like, oh Jesus, another one. What I'm struggling with is TikTok. I'm like, do I have to? So I started doing some little things on TikTok, and then I just like, really, nobody cares. I mean, nobody cares. Hi, here I am in the booth. No, I just can't imagine anybody cares. So if I have something funny to come up with, I might hang on with TikTok, but I like Instagram because it's quick, it's visual. And I can just sort of, it's probably boring too, but But I don't love it. I don't love doing it. I really don't. I don't love what it represents, the, dopamine of all these likes, and
it's like the red light district of freelance work. It's like hang your light out.
Popularity contest. Yeah, it just, but so early on, Vic was like, we've got to get our social media going. We've got to get our social. I was like, why? I don't want to. And I said, I already know who I work with. I mean, I know the publishers, right? I don't need to prove anything to them. And he made a really good point. He said, yeah, the Dan Musselmans of the world know you, AKA, he's retired. Okay. So it's the young producers, the millennial producers who value social media immensely, for whom I'm making posts for now, not the people who know me. And you know what? I'll tell you what really, this is where, and I'm going to shut up about it after this. This is what I don't like about social media, is that I use it to get my name out to authors, to show publishers that I'm relevant, that I'm working, that I'm doing high profile books, to hopefully they'll listen to a snippet and go, oh, wow, listen to her do that. That was great. What I don't like is that anybody would ever think it's intended for other narrators to see, because I don't like that braggy aspect of social media. I hate it. But I feel
can
every time
I give
I
you a
I feel like I'm
reframe?
bragging.
Can I give you a reframe on this?
Okay. Yeah, but you're not going to convince me.
I know, but I stopped doing the things I don't like to do, because I used to think, what am I going to do that's best for business? And so I would do the posts because I had to be accessible or be seen by publishers. I went on TikTok because I was supposed to be one of these people. And then I tried, because I know some narrators that are doing just a massive amount of business by recording themselves live narrating in snippets and putting it on Insta and TikTok. And I tried that. I was like, I looked like a dead fish caught in the headlights. I was like, because I don't like to do my job with people looking at me. I want to be thinking about my job. I don't want to be thinking about the camera. I have no problem dumping my whole life story. But then what I realized is, it's not that you're being seen by the younger publishers. It's now I'm looking at it as there are a whole bunch of parties going on. And
yeah, I like that. Like, this is a party. I like this party a lot.
This I love my party. You know what I mean? I come for the fun of it. I don't
this
ever
is great
think,
what you do.
You know what I mean? But you're not thinking I'm going to get work off this, because I don't. So, but it's fun. And so now I like Instagram sometimes, because it's a different Instagram party
too. I think it's fun. I just don't ever want to come off as braggy. That's all. Yeah.
It's TikTok. The things they slam you with is so offensive. I feel like my grandmother.
I do too. I'm too old for that shit.
But it's a party. It's a party. And so,
yeah, it is. There are people who are good at it, and power to them. I'm not judgy about it at all. I just, we just all have our limits. Like, I tweet every now and then, but
I'm not doing things I don't want to do anymore. Twitter scares me. I mean, people go from 0 to 90 in like 2 seconds on Twitter, like ravage each other. Like, but a lot of writers are on Twitter, aren't they?
Yeah. So I'll post there mainly when I post something, it's so that I can tag the publisher and I can tag the author. So that's why I do it.
But it's a cliche.
Hey guys, look, I'm publishing your book. I mean, I'm promoting your book. I'm promoting your book. So that's it.
It is a very big cliche, I have to say, but what it is authenticity. And that's what you do. I think.
Thank you. Well, I want that. I want it to be, I'm pretty much what you see is what you get. I think I'm known for that. If nothing else, I speak my mind. I'm a bit of a straight shooter, for better or for worse. So I want that to come across, and I do think about it. So it's somewhat curated, and sometimes I go awry. But I try to think about it a little bit.
So what do you want? Like
What do I
what's like,
want?
yeah, what do you want? Like a
I
dream?
want a trust fund. I want a key to a secret trust fund in Switzerland.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I keep thinking somebody's going to give me that passcode, but nobody has. What would I do if I had that? Let's move that one step further down the road. I would not stop working because I would go nuts if I stopped working.
Somebody wants to know why Switzerland.
I don't know. Isn't that where all the secret bank accounts and the trust funds
Dominic,
are? They're all in Switzerland, aren't they? And I'm Swiss. So I think like I'm half Swiss. I think that there's some, I don't know any relatives. I don't have any left on that side of my family. I think there's got to be someone there who's like, oh, Hillary, we found you here.
Well, is there something, see, because what you just said, though, I thought the other day about the lottery. If I won the lottery, would I get the things that like I'm so pissed off that I don't have, to be skinny and the things I want in work? And I'm like, the lottery won't give me either of those things.
We won't give you any of that. You know, I guess I just said that, and this is, I don't mean to be a downer when I say this, but I'm just going to say it because
authenticity.
Straight shooter here. I work friggin' hard, and I work 5 days a week, at least, sometimes more. I don't say no to books. I mean, I don't have an extravagant lifestyle by any measure, but I have to work to live. And I'm not making, you guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, I am not making 5 times more than you are. Okay. I'm not. We are not making $700 a finished hour, $500 a finished hour, you know, from publishers. So, I mean, there's a limit to I realized that this is being an audiobook narrator, just a narrator, is a really shitty business model because I have to be in that chair to make that money.
Yeah.
And until, you know, God forbid, I can AI my voice. Nobody wants an AI of my voice. They want an AI of, you know, somebody famous's voice. But, you know, I can't multiply. There's only so much I can make. And I work like a dog to do it. So, like I said, I wouldn't stop working, but I would not work as nearly as much with such a fervor as I do now. And I would travel a lot. So would it solve all my problems? No, but it would take a little of the heat off. And then I'd be philanthropic. So, but let's talk about narrating, not my financial situation. I don't think I don't think y'all tuned in to hear about, you know, what a slave I am in my booth.
But I think we all kind of get to that. I struggle because I seem to have a Pollyanna idea of what my schedule is going to be like. And then the universe, every single time, record-breaking heat wave, I still went in, Hillary. I had sweat dripping
people have been posting their temperature in their booth, which
it's
luckily
like,
I don't contend with that, but yeah, that's brutal. I deal with noise. So I'm in Long Island for the summer. You know, normally I live in LA, but I spend 4 or 5 months in Eastern Long Island, which is heavenly, but it's really, really flat and we are surrounded by water. There's oceans, there's bays, there's canals, it's water everywhere. And everybody's property is surrounded by huge hedgerows and they've got huge lawns. And I mean, we know what that translates into: lawnmowers, hedge clippers, leaf blowers, and weed whackers all day long, 6 days a week. So, I mean, I can keep out. When I first got here and I used to just go into the city to work. But when COVID hit, I obviously couldn't do that. So I had to get a booth and put it in here. And so when I first did, it's in the garage, which is insulated. It's an insulated garage. So it's got double windows. It's protected for weather reasons. So I for the first week, every time I heard a lawnmower, and I can hear them from not just next door, I can hear them from far away, flat water, right? I'd run in and I'd hit record and I'd save that and I'd name it, the date and the time. And so I could get a sense of what the schedule was, right? Of who's mowing their damn lawn when. And then I sent them all to my editor. And I was like, which days are deal breakers for me? And, he's like, well, Thursday when Alex is in your yard for an hour, nope, that's a no-go from 11 to 12. But, when that neighbor over there is Wednesday, that we can get rid of that. So, he gave me a sense of when I could record and when I couldn't. But there's construction now across the street, so I have to deal with that.
I really like that.
Yeah, schedules get in the way, but
because you start to hate people.
I just want to. Yeah, you do. But listen, that's just something that I just want you guys to be aware of, is that just because we can hear it doesn't mean they can't get rid of it. Okay. And I know that when everybody is recording their own work and editing their own mastering, doing ACX work where you have to produce the book, and you all know this, but I'm just here to drumbeat it. You put those plugins on and you DS and you put a gate and you do all those mysterious things I don't understand to make the files sound good. But when you work for the publishers, you are not allowed to do that. Yeah. And the reason being, they want to be able to control it. And if you do that, they can't undo that. And if they think your gate is too extreme, they can't undo it. And that's going to bum them out and they're not going to want to hire you again. So when they ask you for a sample of your sound, you should always be honest and say, first of all, here it is. You know what? Here's a lawnmower 2 doors down. Is this a bummer? Give them a sample of that, because they'll say, no, that's fine. We can get rid of it. And they can. And don't be scared to ask that. So yeah.
That's good to hear, because
but just know they're like wizards, those guys.
Yeah, see, I've always been totally paranoid. Like if it's going to a publisher, I am like, if someone sneezes in 3 cities down, I will like redo it, because I'm so scared I'm going to get caught and my sound isn't good enough, or
well, so you're better off getting, as long as your bass sound is good.
Yeah, it's fine. I've done hundreds.
That's fine. And they've hopefully approved that.
Yeah.
But you're better off getting caught, with somebody sneezing than you are with putting a shitty plug-in on your tracks.
I'd be too afraid to break. I've got like a thing about breaking the rules like that. I'd be too scared of getting caught.
Well, everybody thinks, oh, they'll never notice that I did this.
No, I'd be too scared.
Sometimes
I'd be like,
they will. So
I'm sure that they like know everything. That's why Discord is such a problem for me, because like having people look at you while you're working, I don't know. I'm the oldest child of an Italian Catholic family, so like I feel guilty already. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
your parents
come home guilty, Daniela.
Yeah. You run away like every time your parents come in the room, because you've done something wrong. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh my God.
So you've been doing this for a while, and you're obviously in a place where the actual physical part of the job, you're comfortable with it. You know your boundaries, your limits. Are you still experiencing highs of new learning? Do you know what I mean? While narrating, like artistic leaps?
Yeah, I'm not going to say highs, but I want to hope that I will never stop learning, ever. And I do think that the style of narration has changed a little bit. Will it continue to do so? I don't know. I feel like it used to be much more formal than it is now. Wouldn't it used to be? Well, no, we were telling you a story, right? Kind of and now I just feel like it's much more conversational. So I feel like I've had to learn to adapt that way. So I learn when I listen to other narrators. I learn what I don't like, and I learn what I do like. I learn when I teach all the time. I just have these sort of like revelatory moments when I'm either coaching or teaching a class. And I learn when I listen to people on Clubhouse. So I'll never stop learning. I wouldn't say all of a sudden I have an aha moment. There's not some huge revelation, some sunbeam that comes shining down, but I hope I never stop learning, because that would suck.
That's what Sean Pratt said about teaching. And I've read a book about that as well, that when you teach, you're taking your craft from the outside in, and you're learning it on a whole new level. That's how masters become masters, through teaching.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. And I've definitely noticed that. Like I didn't have to do, I was invited to teach a 3-hour course on self-directing. And I was like, I don't know, really? I don't even know how to, okay, yeah, I'd love to. And so I really had to think about what that means. And I broke it down. I wrote a whole curriculum, and that's where I came up with the concept of taking the hats off before I go in the booth. That's literally where I developed that, was during the formation of that class, where I thought, if I, this is about, and this is what my style of coaching in general, it's very lecture-y. It's not about, this is if I'm teaching you my curriculum. It's not so much about critiquing your work, because if it was about me critiquing your work, you don't have me there in the booth when you're recording, critiquing your work. So I can teach you things critiquing your work, but it's more about teaching you how to self-direct. It's teaching you the skill sets that you need before you get in that booth, so that you can do that alone. Because let's face it, most of us are alone most of the time with our microphones, and we don't have the benefit of that director. So that I just, I learned a lot developing that class. It was awesome. Am I applying it? I hope so.
I've got, I want to break in. I'm pretty sure this is Jeff Giel. I cannot get your last name. I'm so sorry. I grew up on Long Island. I'm 100% sure that's Jeff. It just says his iPhone, but he says break the rules. So just thought that was a nice little thing to interject. Yes, yeah, that's the right Jeff. So okay. So you're taking it to a new level. You're doing the social. I like the fact that you learn the things you have to learn, and then you don't make a very big deal about it. You just you're very are you analytical as a human being? Do you find yourself, because the recording the sound at this time and having somebody give you feedback is very step-by-step. This is my process. Were you always like that? You're not a fly by the seat of your pants kind of person, are you?
No, I'm a totally fly by the seat of my pants kind of person.
Are you?
100%. I open up the box from IKEA and I just try to put that shit together. I hate reading directions. I'm incredibly impatient. I like to just jump in and do it.
But you seem to have a process.
Have to go back and I have to redo it. Well, I've been forced to make a process because I teach it. So it's forced me to create a process, which I can't help but think I've benefited from immensely. Right? It's a little backwards, but that's how it's worked. That was a good question. I like that question a lot.
Well, I'm
really impatient.
Think about the teaching thing. Think about what they said about the mastering it from the outside in. The fact that it's forced you to break down your process step by step. So it's forced you to get a clearer understanding of what you mean and what you say. So you're interpreting the intuitive side of yourself, the creative, and you're bringing it to the other side of your brain. I can never remember which is the creative, which is the analytical side.
I know, I can't either. Will somebody tell us? I want to say the left side is the creative, but I feel like it's the opposite. Does anybody know?
I think you're right. I think it's the left side is the creative, but then I might just be thinking that left is analytical.
Oh, see, it's the opposite of what we think, right?
But I think it because of politics, because I think.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, left is always better, right?
Right is creative.
Left is always better, except maybe not in coasts. I like them both, but wait, can I take a picture of this screen? Am I allowed to do that?
Of course, of course.
Does anybody mind if I do that?
No, nope.
It's so fun.
Hi. We all look gorgeous, except my wardrobe malfunction.
No, it's so cute. Wait, that didn't work. I have to do it again. Hold on. I used the wrong thing. I was in a text. I want to text. I just want to take a picture of it. Okay, there. Hi. Okay, sorry.
I have to do more. Actually, that's part of it. I need to do, you know how I said you show up at the parties and everything, taking the picture of the Zoom call. The other thing I should be doing is at the end of the call saying, subscribe to the channel. And this, I'm really bad. I show up at the party, right? And I bring a Kager, but like, I don't hang around and like do the right things, like take the picture and I don't do the right social things. I need to.
Yeah, that I guess you just gotta, that's taking that, you know what that is? And my husband busts me all the time. He'd be like, "Oh, well, are you taking another picture for your Instagram?"
No, it's
like,
a
yeah, I'm
smart
taking
thing
another
to
picture
do.
for my Instagram. Okay, well, how are you going to use that one? I'm like, I don't know yet, but I think it's funny, and I'm going to use it somehow.
It's important and it's smart, and it brings people together, and the people that are in the picture feel like they were part of something. We did this whole workshop and I didn't do any of that. I barely mentioned it to people.
No, I mean, everybody knows who you are now.
But well, the workshop, it turned, I brought some amazing people on and there were some unbelievable things, but I tried to be humble. You know, oh, you don't want to charge too much. You don't want to, and I think you get in your own way. I think you have to do what part of your personality have you had to fight? Or overcome or change?
Well, who's to say I've overcome it?
Which is why I'm not bringing myself up.
I talk too much. My jump into every conversation. I mean, I'm just kind of loud and brash, and I would like to be subtler. You know, I'll tell you what, my sister-in-law, she's my best friend. She is Grace. She is lovely. She's polite, but she's funny. She's so pretty. She's petite, but she's witty. But she can just, well, I don't even need to describe her. Here's how I describe the two of us. She is Lady Di and I'm Fergie. I mean, in a nutshell, I'm the idiot who's poking people with the umbrella, and she's just like saying something witty or kind. So I wish I was a little more Diana and a little less Fergie.
Do you really though?
Well, kind of, yeah, because sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh God, did you have to be that like big?
Yeah, see,
I'd like to be able to be a little subtler. I'm not very subtle.
I don't know. I'd rather be big and loud, and I'd rather be a fireball. I used to be told that I was too big, and I was tried to. Yeah, I think the reason you're Hillary, the reason you're the Oprah of the audiobook world, is because you're you. Don't change.
Oh, it's not changing. Not at this point. I'm too old for that. Old dog.
Subtle to me is like, and nothing wrong with subtle people.
I don't know. I love that saying, still water runs deep, you know? I'm like, God, I wish I was like, you know, people like, what's she thinking?
Yeah, no, I don't.
I'll tell you exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I secretly think the people that don't say anything don't have anything to say.
I think they're mysterious.
I mean,
there's nothing mysterious.
I'm not into it. Thrillers.
Yes.
Genre. I've asked everyone this question. I'm really curious as to your take. Do you find I know what Johnny would say, go straight to the script. If you're playing the moment and the character, it doesn't matter what the genre is. Travis and I had this conversation, and Travis said there are like Gamelit. There's a specific thing listeners are expecting to hear, a specific tone from all the audiobooks they've heard before. They're expecting to hear that you deliver, like, you know, whether it's pace or whatever. Do you feel that depending upon the genre you're doing, you alter the mood, the pace, the tone? I mean, we do for like historical fiction, don't we? But like a thriller versus a sci-fi versus a romance, or do you play it straight to the characters?
Well, I mean, you'll play what the author's intention is. You try to determine the author's intentions. So in a romance, what is it? To entice? I don't know. To amuse? To provide an escape? To titillate? You know, I don't know. I mean, a thriller's intention is to scare, to build suspense. And so, I mean, I don't know what the intention of a sci-fi is. It depends what it is. Is it space? Is it a sci-fi opera? Is it, right? You know, so obviously, and you know this, every book has a completely different intention. But the way, oh, hold on, honey, that's not going to work. Thanks. But the way I do that in any given genre is through energy. It's energy, which breaks down into pacing, volume. It's you know, I like to say that in nonfiction, for the most part, these are all generalizations, right? Every book is different, but for the most part, when we're performing nonfiction, we are so invested in whatever it is that author has spent 2 years, 3 years of their lives researching and is so passionate. We have to maintain that connection and that energy to that script in an unflagging 10-hour boom. It's like a freight train, right? You have to keep engaged with the listener. Whereas in fiction, and again, generalization, in fiction, we're like a helicopter with our energy up, down, forward, backwards, sideways. We can rotate, we can do all kinds of stuff.
You're right.
And so, yeah.
You're
and that's
right. Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, yeah. So, you know, like, how do you build suspense? I think what makes something scary and building suspense is about wanting it to be over. So when I see somebody break into somebody's house and start snooping around through their drawers, like, that terrifies me. Okay. It scares that whenever I see anybody snooping around trying not to get caught, I'm like, it works every single time. I'm like, hurry, go, God, get out, hurry, hurry. But you know, the longer they go, the more you want it over with, which is why slow motion is so powerful, right? Yeah. You know, you have the car flying in slow motion over the bridge. You're like, oh my God, are they going to make it?
Yeah, because so I heard that about thrillers and everything. Sometimes in a book at that crucial moment, you don't up the ramp and make it all screamy and shouty.
You don't imitate. You slow it down. You don't imitate the speed on the page necessarily.
Yeah.
That's what a director knows how to use slow motion to heighten the anticipation of it being over.
Yeah.
So it's energy is, do I think about it? No, not necessarily. I'm not marking my script. You're going to ramp up your energy here. It just, you know, if you understand the story there, you understand where there are certain places where you're going to get more focused and more intentional in your energy. And there are other places where you're going to be a little more light and fluffy in your energy.
So do you have a process?
That's what I think.
Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, you should, because I just talk for way too long.
Okay, but you're saying things that is triggering things I'm dying to ask. So do you have a process? You must by now, of leaving your own energy, whatever bad things have happened to you that week, or you've been annoyed, or you're thinking about other things outside the booth. Do you have an actual ritual process, or do you just like make yourself do it?
No, I just make myself do it. And no, I'm not a journaler. I meditate, but I'm not you know, I have to do all my certain things to get in there. I just get in there and I do it. And sometimes it's a slog. Sometimes I'm just not feeling it. Sometimes I feel like my lips just don't even move. I don't even always do my warm-ups. I wish I did, but, and I'll get all excited. I'm going to warm up every day. And then I don't. And I'll usually find my rhythm after a while. And again, I may go back and I may redo the first couple paragraphs so I can be in the rhythm again. And sometimes I cut bait. Sometimes I just know, you know what? It's not happening today. Your mind is way too scattered thinking about other things. And if I'm lucky and I have the time in my schedule to cut bait, I will cut bait and walk out of the booth. But usually I try to slog through it. I think it would be great to have a ritual, but I'm not that kind of person. Like, I can't take a vitamin every day.
Like, I know I'm not consistent. The minute you tell me to be consistent, I immediately.
Yeah, I'm not good at it.
Like, it's like my biggest battle in life. But you seem very disciplined, though. I think you're disciplined.
Well, I am. I'm very disciplined. The one thing I will brag about is that in close to 700 books recorded, I've never missed a deadline. And I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
I understand time management really well. I'm the idiot who is circling the block 5 minutes before the party because I'm going to be on time. I try to be late, and I literally try, and I still can't. So time management is definitely one of my skills.
Do you put buffers in between projects in case things happen?
I mean, no. I mean, if I can, sure. But I told you guys, I'm a bit of a slut. I take every book that comes my way if I think I can fit it in. And sometimes
then just kill yourself to make sure the damn thing gets done on time.
Yeah. I mean, I won't. I only record between 10 and 5 is my limit. I won't go after that. I don't care what I'm doing, how behind the 8 ball I am. I can't record after 5 o'clock. It just doesn't work for me. And I can't really record before that because I sound like RuPaul. But so I don't know. I don't know. I know how to schedule it. And if I get screwed, I'll work on a Sunday, if I have to.
Do you know what, hearing you say this is kind of like, you've just made me realize something about all those self-help books and self-help ideas is I've asked like pretty much every coach that's been on here, and they've all had these great rituals and like processes. And you're the first person that's kind of done what I've done. And now I'm thinking, well, maybe I don't have to change because Hillary's doing it. So it's like, maybe I'm just reading the wrong self-help books. Maybe I just have to read the ones that say stay up till 3 a.m.
I wish I was better at that, but I like that. I like that people do that, but it's funny, it's funny. Your questions make me really self-analyze a little bit. I mean, I love that because I am really strict and kind of OCD in the way I run my life, certainly time-wise, but yet I don't like a structure of a ritual, or I like the structure of the clock, I guess, but I don't know.
No, I'm the same. I've got like my life on a spreadsheet for every 15-minute increment, but I've started trying to take athletic greens, and I'm incapable of doing it for more than 2 days in a row.
Is that like a vitamin E thing?
It's some vitamin. I can't do anything.
I'm awful at that. No, I hate it.
Yeah, the minute you tell me, thank God nobody's ever told me that I had to brush my teeth.
I start choking on those vitamins after 3 days. I'm like,
yeah, evidently this is some green stuff that's supposed to make you a superhuman or something. I don't know. It's all the same stuff. It's the point of doing something consistently. The only thing I can consistently do is get in that booth, because you give me a book and I salivate. Pretty much any book, and I salivate.
That is so, I love hearing that. That's so wonderful and refreshing. I love that.
It's a thing I love the most.
I'm sure you guys have heard me say this, but here my booth is in the garage because it needs to be, but in LA it's not. I had it in my house for a long time, and then I had to get it out of my house, and I have an office, and that provides a really good structure for me. I go, I work, I leave, and I come home. Where I'm working, let's face it, I'm working at home anyway because I'm reading, but I know, and I experience it here a little bit, the negotiation that I do with myself when that booth is sitting right there, or rather the world is sitting outside of my booth. I'm in there, I'm like, well, if I go to the beach for an hour, I could, I hate that. Yeah. So that I guess that I have created a structure and a ritual. I guess you could call it a ritual. I make my lunch every day. I go to work. Once I'm there, I do the things I do when I get into the studio. I have all the little, so yeah, I guess I do have a ritual. I feel much better.
Now the minute you call it ritual, you're going to stop wanting to do it.
I know. I make my little cup of tea,
I think we all have rituals all the time. There's a fascinating book. There's one about female writers and one about male writers, and some of the most famous writers in the world. And it shows what their rituals are. And one female writer used to write, she would sit in bed, I can't remember what it was, but she would have some exotic liquor and black coffee and cigarettes, I don't smoke, and chocolate. And she did that every day. And then she wrote, right? And I thought, well, if I could have a ritual like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I listened to the Calm app, little meditation things on the Calm app. And I loved this yesterday. One of them said, the difference between a habit and a ritual is intention. So, you know, we have the habit of brushing our teeth every day, but we turn it into a ritual the minute we start paying attention to it, you know, and noticing there's the tooth, there it is on that tooth, you know, we pay attention and we make it, we're in the moment and present in whatever we're doing. So, you know, I have the habit of making my cup of tea every day, waiting for the water to boil. But it becomes a ritual when I sit there and say, wow, look, the water's boiling. I'm going to put my tea bag in. Right. So I thought that was just interesting. Yeah. It's a mindfulness, the difference between a habit and a ritual.
And you know, the benefit of that, because what they say, you know, when you're a kid and like a summer can last.
Yeah.
Like 3 years. Thank God it's not lasting this year, 3 years. But they say, but time, you get so much more time. And then when you get older, the more you need the time, the faster it goes. And that's because
it's relative.
Yeah,
it's relative.
Well, but also because we do everything on autopilot because our mind's filtering out shortcuts for everything. And when you start paying attention to the brushing your teeth and the tea, you're slowing down time and actually giving yourself a longer life in your perception.
That's so interesting. Yeah. You know, Maggie Smith said, they asked her, what's the biggest thing you've noticed about getting older? And she said, well, I have breakfast every 20 minutes. Right? Because that's what it seems like. A day is like, shit, breakfast again? I just had it 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And the nature of our jobs is because it's repetitive, different books all the time, but we do a lot of the same things every day. It makes time speed up even faster. Like literally the last 10 years have taken like 5 days. We've got another question for you. Lauren says, since you mentioned recording sound samples in the garage booth to check mower sound, how did you judge what would be a good office location before leasing and installing your booth?
Great question. I spent a lot of time sitting there. I mean, I knew right when I looked at a few spaces that were just, I knew were no brainer. No deal. And then I found this space. It's an old ceramics warehouse. It's this huge factory. Okay. Giant ceilings and clear story windows. It's huge. And Todd's Shoes had built all these they had taken the space and built all these 10 by 10 little mini offices in it, like 15 or 20 of them. And it was pretty vacant when I went. It's an old industrial, you know, area. And I sat in each of the vacant booths, each of the vacant offices for a good chunk of time. And I went back a couple different days and listened. And then just cross my fingers. And I have some issues every now and then, but I think you got to sit in that space for a while. And obviously you can't sit there for 24 hours a day, but yeah, I mean, I lucked out. And they then decided to make it a kind of quiet zone. So all the tenants who move in have to be kind of quiet, which is great. So Vikas used to be next door to me. But then he likes to record in the middle of the night, so he moved out. But Devin Sorvery Brand moved in next to me, and Susan Hanfield moved in across the way. She had to move her space, actually. She went in one, and she realized it was next to the men's room where the hand dryer was going off all the time.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, and so she moved to another one. But yeah, it's a good question, because you just, you know, you can't take it into account. Where's the chiller in this building? Right? Where's the?
It's kind of like a collective, though. You guys have a little commune thing going on.
Yeah, it's really great. Commune. And you know, and John Marshall Media is renting it while I'm gone, which is freaking awesome. I know John Cheery, who owns John Marshall Media, called me like in February or March. He's like, you know, I've been thinking I want to open an office, some studios in LA. What do you think? Where would it be? He just wanted to get my take on the lay of the land. And so we chatted for a while, and then when summer was approaching, I thought, oh my God, what a great soft landing for them to try it out for 4 months. So they're in my space, which I love. I love having somebody in there. I left a little I have a bulletin board, and I left a big sheet of paper on it that said, let me know who's here. So I hope I have no idea. I don't know who's in there, but I hope I come home to some notes of people saying, I recorded this in your space. And that would be really exciting.
I love that. And they Instagrammed all over the place.
No, but Nobody has Instagram that they're in my space. So
you should shout out. You should stick it on Instagram going, who's recording it such and such.
Nobody's told me they're recording there. So I don't know who they're recording there or if they're recording anybody. It didn't occur to me until right now.
Yeah, because it would be a good promo opportunity for someone.
Well, it would just be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Clubhouse, I can't see there. And you're okay. So you say you're a talker, right? How do you deal with the fact that you can't see their visual? I feel like Clubhouse is full of a bunch of introverts and they're kind of quiet. And see me, I talk if there's a space. So I feel like I don't give people time to talk on Clubhouse because I can't see them. So I don't know if they're going to
visual cue of
there's no visual
it's awkward.
cue. Yeah, how do you overcome it?
I don't know. You just say sorry a lot for interrupting people. Sorry.
Lauren says, do the narrators know it's your space or is it a JMM secret? It's not now. It's on YouTube.
No, I mean, it's my name's all over the place. All my books are in there. I mean, all my medals and crap are in there. No, it's pretty obvious. It's my name's on the door actually. So maybe it's nobody who knows me. I don't know. It's none of my friends. I had this, I had this, vision that like friends who didn't have studio, who doesn't have it? I don't know.
Maybe they're brand new narrators.
Maybe there are. That'd be great.
Friends in the making. Exciting. Rebecca says authors are better at Clubhouse than narrators. They always say, I'm done speaking when they're done.
Oh, I love that. I'm done speaking. Maybe that should be the new role. I'm done speaking.
Yeah, I like that. I mean,
Clubhouse is fun. We'll see how long it lasts. I don't know. It's fun. It's fun because you can, I mean, I do like that you can just kind of hop in and your face doesn't pop up. So you can hop right back out again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess your face kind of does pop up, but it's not as much as going, hi, and then, skulking off if you're not into it. Right.
I think my face having to pop up on these calls kind of saved me because if it weren't for these calls, my face would never have popped up anywhere for the last 2 years. I wouldn't have even, I'm lucky I left the house. So it made me show up and see people. I remember the one guest didn't realize it was a Zoom call on camera and they logged on and there was like no camera. And they
naked.
Go, oh, is there going to be camera? And I'm like, yeah, I heard.
Well, that was me asking you because I couldn't remember from the last
No, you asked ahead of time. This person realized it on the call.
Do I have to put on lipstick?
Yeah, no, this person was like, oh shit, I could hear things being thrown.
Well, that's funny.
They did show up.
I had something to say that was
Clubhouse, your space, John Marshall.
No, it was after. It was just about what we were just talking about going on camera or something, but
visual content, visual cues.
I can't remember. Yeah, whatever. And maybe it'll come to me. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Apropos of nothing audiobooks, I read that there has been a huge spike in plastic surgery, particularly for men since Zoom.
Wow. Now they know how it feels.
Well, yeah, because you're sitting there staring at yourself, Yeah, you're like, oh my God, really? Wow.
When I got 20,000 hits, I got Botox right here. Because I thought 20,000 people have seen this line. And now I kind of go on the other way and I just don't care because 120 calls, I've probably said horrible things I shouldn't have said out loud in public at this point.
Haven't we all, Daniela? Haven't we all?
At some point,
not my sister-in-law. She hasn't. It's perfect.
The funny thing is how I say people can let me know after the call if they want anything edited out. People have a thing with their sisters, so maybe that'll be. I've had 5 people contact me afterwards, going, "Can you delete that thing I said about my sister?"
That's so funny. Get that? No, I didn't bring up my sister, just my sister-in-law. She already knows I call her that.
No, don't become subtle. Subtle's not.
I can't. It's not in my vocabulary.
Yeah, I think we should all just figure out what our biggest flaws are and milk them with the time we've got left.
Nope, I'm not doing that.
Hillary, I've got to ask you one last question with my promise to get out in a timely manner, but I can't let you go too easily. What famous last words would you like to leave with our YouTube audience for the next 60 years? That if you could leave them, if they could remember Hillary by anything, or if you could give them advice, what would you like to tell people that you'd like them to take away from this call? I know I'm not even going to say capsule this time, Sean. We do a thing. If you were going to put something in a time capsule for people to open it up in 60 years, what would you want to be remembered by? So you can answer in either way.
Well, I wish I had time to think about that, because the first thing that comes to mind is a quote from Arthur, the movie, where he says, "Isn't fun the best thing to have?" And but he's like, "Isn't fun the best thing to have?" You know, he's probably wasted when he said it. But I mean, it's not advice. It's not anything pithy.
No, but it's Hillary.
But it's just, I believe in that. And everything can always be fun, but I just want to laugh. And I aim to not take anything too seriously and just try and have fun, everybody. There's so much darkness. And so we just got to find the light. It's not audiobook help, but.
No, I love that. That's like, seriously, Hillary, most of what's in these calls is not audiobook help.
I feel like such a responsibility to be like, okay, here's some, important information, but
yeah, luckily I don't feel that.
Try to have
normally
some fun.
It's people's childhoods and like biggest
too
fears.
Seriously.
Yeah. We're here to hang out.
Good. Well, thank you for hanging out with me.
You are a joy. You are just so lovely. And now I always remembered, because people just wanted you back, and it's just hanging out with Hillary Huber. It's perfect.
Like hanging out. I can't wait till we can do it in person, y'all.
Yes. Are you going to APAC next year?
You bet I am. I'm like going to buy my ticket tomorrow. We had a PANA, the socials. I don't know if any of you are members of PANA, but we had the socials around the country. And so the one in New York was a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, for 3 days prior, I was like a child before Christmas. I was giddy with excitement to go. I'm like walking up the stairs. I was like, I can't believe I get to see you guys.
Was everyone like hugging and all that? Like all contact?
Yes, it was all, we were like,
I'm not ready for that.
It was so fun.
I'm not ready for that yet. I like my little Zoom world.
Well, thank you guys for coming and chatting. Well, listening to me ramble, but
it's
nice
guys.
To see all your faces.
I got her back for you. Yay. And give me a couple more months and I'll start chasing her again. Thank you.
I'm always happy to come hang out. Anybody cancels, give me a call. I'll step up until you're like, enough.
Nope, you're like the Johnny Heller, Helen Lloyd, Sean. You're always welcome.
Okay.
So
thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Bye, guys.
A great
Bye,
rest
Hillary.
of your summers. Bye.
Bye.